here's Brody Brazil.
So as I'm recording this video, like literally in this precise moment, I'm pretty sure Paul Skenes is like seconds away from officially being announced as the 2025 National League Cy Young Award winner. That's my prediction. I know that's the expectation. I'll just go ahead and safely say it. Congratulations to you, Paul Skenes. But that makes all of this and what came out today in NJ.com very unfortunate. That's actually half of it. The other half about what came out is that it's kind of the writing on the wall in Pittsburgh. And it's kind of true. And whether Paul Skenes actually said he was hoping for a trade or not, we can all see how this situation with Skenes and the Pirates is kind of devolving and how now the Yankees name is going to get involved. Other teams are going to get involved as his career continues and he gets closer to free agency, which is likely going to land him somewhere far away from Pittsburgh because the Pirates simply won't pay for his services and are not going to spend to build a baseball team around him. And again, all of that is the unfortunate part. The timing of today, the Cy Young Award announcement, which I'm, again, guessing is going in his favor, and also the fact that we can all see this coming. I've been referencing Paul Skenes in so many videos lately about what's wrong with baseball and the competitive imbalance of baseball, how some teams can afford a Paul Skenes, other teams that have him right now cannot afford or they do not want to afford to keep him. So let's get to the article written by Randy Miller over at NJ.com. Randy's saying this: according to a Pirates teammate who recently spoke with NJ Advanced Media, like NJ.com, Skenes has, quote, no confidence the Pirates are ever going to win, end quote, with him in Pittsburgh. And Skenes is, quote, hoping for a trade, end quote, well before he can become a free agent after the 2029 season. Yeah, he's still got a lot of designated years in the Pirates organization unless they trade him away, but he's hoping to not let free agency play out. He's hoping to be traded to the New York Yankees or another team, and the Pirates can get some value out of him. They should get a lot of value out of him. But what do Pirates fans get out of this? And again, all of this being reported, there's no name associated with this. This is very anonymous, all speculation. I'm just passing along this. I cannot confirm this. I cannot necessarily agree with, the reporting here or the way this came out, but I just want to share and pass along what's out there so we can talk about it. Trust me, quote, he wants to play for the Yankees, end quote, the Skenes teammate said. Quote, I've heard him say it multiple times, end quote. Again, all of that from Randy Miller at NJ.com. I will link to that article down below so you can check it out in full. But that's what's out there. So the GM meetings for Major League Baseball, they've been happening in Las Vegas. Ben Cherington is the Pirates general manager. Of course, the media went right to him and asked about it. Here was his response. Quote, I do dismiss it, but I understand it. What? What we're going to focus on is just how do we win games with him in a Pirates uniform. I have a ton of respect for the Yankees, but we'll just focus on what we need to do. Cherington went on to say, in a nice way, it's really simple because what matters most to Paul Skenes is what matters to us. Win more games. That's the focus because that is what is going to be most important to him. Well, yeah, and what you're surrounded by and spending on a team and building a really good Pirates team and not just being mediocre on purpose and maybe eventually getting the dollar amount that you're worth down the road, all of those things are important to him. I mean, winning is paramount, but there are some other very important things too. I digress. What probably gives us the best chance to keep him in Pittsburgh for longer, for longer than what? Like, how about forever? What probably gives us the best chance to keep him in Pittsburgh for longer is winning games. And that's what we need to do anyway. End quote. All of this is almost like they're already conceding that he's gone. It really does feel that way. For them to keep him longer? Why is that the approach? Cherington closes out his quote by saying, so in a way, it helps simplify it and focus it. My conversations with him, Paul Skenes, the only thing we talk about is winning and how to do that. Well, of course, at this point, because he may see the writing on the wall. He may be a bit checked out of this situation. He may know that there will be a lot of suitors out there for his services. Of course, all he cares about is winning right now, but eventually it's going to be a lot more than that. Let's get to some takeaways here. One of two things has happened here with the anonymous teammate coming out with these quotes, and I would never accuse any writer or author or journalist of making something up. That's not it. But either one of two things happened here. Number one, those things have never been said by Paul Skenes, and they were never even repeated that way. So there's a possibility that none of this actually ever happened, or that the source was making it up. So there is a possibility none of it actually was ever said. But there's also only really one other distinct possibility, and that is these are real feelings. This is how Paul Skenes is feeling, like he wants to be a Yankee someday. And it is true, but he'll never confirm that. What's he going to say if asked about it later today? Hey, Paul, did you say that about the Yankees? Oh, yeah, I said that. No, never. So again, either one of two things happened. It never happened, or it did happen and we'll never get confirmation on it. That's just the way the story is going to go. It would make sense. I want to think about this realistically. And we've all been in a situation where maybe teammates weren't the most helpful, or the situation wasn't great, or we just wanted out of the situation. It would make sense for Paul Skenes to be frustrated with the writing on the wall and knowing that he's not a free agent for 4 or 5 more seasons, basically, and that he's in Pittsburgh where have they tried to surround him with a winning team? Are they going to spend more? What is their plan with this? Like, what are they going to do to help him? He can only do so much. He is the bump day guy. When he starts, people show up to PNC Park. They watch the games. When he doesn't start, it's a totally different team. They don't have a chance necessarily the same way as during his start days. But he feels like the writing is on the wall. Of course he might lash out. Of course he might say those things like, get me out of here. I can't wait to be a Yankee someday where they'll pay me, they'll pay the players around me, I'll be on a good team, I'll get attention, I'll do all that stuff and perform on the highest stage. Wouldn't you understand that if he felt that way right here, right now? I'm not saying that's great, and I'm also not saying that he is even showcasing that. I'm not saying that he is being a bad teammate, not saying that at all. I'm saying, wouldn't you understand it if he felt that way inside, let alone reflected that out to anybody else? Yeah, the Pirates do need to sign Paul Skenes, but they also need to convince him, like, this would be a good place for you to stay. Do you think he's already lost hope in that? Also, they need to surround him with a good team. Part of convincing him to stay is not, okay, here's your $35 million. It's here's your $35 million. Here's your left fielder. Here's going to be our cleanup hitter. Here's our shortstop. Here's the rest of our rotation. Here's the bullpen you're going to be handing it over to. He needs to see all that. Have they done that yet? Are they going to do that in the next 3 or 4 years? Are they prepared to do that? And it's not just the Pirates, it's the A's, it's the Marlins, it's the White Sox, it's the A's, it's the Marlins, it's the A's. Yes, I'm repeating on purpose. It's these same teams every year that have an excuse and then start trading players away and look like the A's traded Mason Miller away and J.P. Sears away. These are fundamental pieces of your next couple years. These are the guys you want to keep. These are the guys that are the commodities, but you got to flip them for something. Right? You keep flipping your players. And the Pirates will try the ultimate flip here. Like they should get a haul in return. But why can't they start the build right here, right now? Isn't this the foundation of a great build? And you don't want to do it? You can't do it? You won't do it? This obviously also doesn't help Paul Skenes with any leverage he ever had with the Yankees or Dodgers, or I know he's from Southern California, if it were the Angels or anybody else. The Padres, because now if it's true, they're like, wait, oh, you want to come be part of our team? Well, we were going to pay you $50 million. Now it's going to be $47 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that it's in Paul Skenes' best interest for all this stuff to be floating out there, but I think we see it. I think we understand it. I think we realize to some extent whether any of that was ever said or not. Probably not too far-fetched to think that that's a realistic thought inside of his brain and his process right now. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. The situation, not just with Paul Skenes, but overall in Major League Baseball. How can teams like Pittsburgh or other small market teams, how can they do this? How can they navigate this when they get their guy, when they get their player? I mean, the Kansas City Royals gave a lot of money to Bobby Witt Jr. They did it. They found a way. Why can't the Pirates do the same here? Thumbs up down below helps me the video and the channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. I would love to see you back here next time.